How much would you pay for happiness and peace and health? It's like that doesn't have a price tag. A lot of times people will begin to talk to me about their own healing journey. They'll say, "Oh, well, I was doing this and it was really, really working, but it got really expensive." Or, "Oh, I was doing this and I just decided that I didn't have time for it." And it always usually comes down to money or time. It's a really interesting observation to watch people decide that physical healing or emotional healing is just not worth the time or investment. It's just interesting that so many people can prioritize like a lot of stuff. Anyone that really wants to make a change, you make stuff happen.
My name is Jordan, and for the last 9 years, I've been living for what many might have looked like a dream. I was a real estate broker in one of the fastest growing cities of America, but for some reason could just never quite find happiness. After being diagnosed with a rare, incurable eye disease that oftentimes leads to blindness, I decided now more than ever is a time for me to follow my true dreams, which is to see the world. So I packed up my bags, packed up my home, and bought a one-way ticket across the world. During my solo travels, I rediscovered a new meaning for life and found that there was hope for me to heal my own body. I'm so excited that you're joining me on this journey as I rediscover me and find that this diagnosis was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Well, today, right now, this week, I am at my aunt's house out in East Texas, and I am dog sitting. Seeing that I have a lot of free time during this whole detox healing time that I've decided to take a break from my life I have had the opportunity to be able to serve those that I love. So I've become a dog sitter, I've become a nanny. Yeah, so this week I am on 24 acres in East Texas at my aunt's house watching my parents and aunt's dogs. So I believe it's 5 dogs, really 6 dogs, and 2 cats I'm watching. But yeah, while I'm here, I have just been focusing on a couple of projects that I'm wanting to complete before I head back out on my travels. And one of those things that I've been working on and that I'm really excited about is that I am excited to begin serving others. So, um, since starting this journey, especially like the detoxing, and I guess with people just seeing the total 360 that I've taken over the past 6 months, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, whether it be about yoga or meditation or detoxing or nutrition or just overall people that are needing a reset and I guess have seen my transformation and yeah, and are looking for guidance. So I'm really excited. I have put together a really amazing, basically, coaching program that touches base on mind, body, soul, spirit, and really just kind of brings together everything that I've learned over the past 6 months. I've put it together in a package that I'm going to be able to start serving others with and hopefully impact some lives. I know not everybody is able to, pack up their life and head out of town across the world. Um, some people have children or significant others or jobs that are important. And I say all this because honestly, I really feel like anyone that really wants to make a change, you make stuff happen, whether you have kids or a significant other or financial burdens. But that's another story. But anyways, I put together a program because I wanted to help other people from their home. Yeah, so that's a whole other thing, whole other story that I'll get into at some point, maybe today. But it really got me thinking about a topic that keeps coming up, especially for someone just it's just a topic that keeps coming up. So that topic is, how much would you pay for happiness and peace and health? That is a big topic that has been on my mind lately as I've been pricing out the different coaching programs and like monthly subscription that I'm creating. Um, I, yeah, it's just something that's been on my mind. Because as I started this journey, I've talked to a lot of people that are familiar with the journey that I'm on. And a lot of times people will begin to talk to me about their own healing journey. They'll say, "Oh, well, I was doing this and it was really, really working, but it got really expensive." Or, "Oh, I was doing this and I just decided that I didn't have time for it. It was taking up too much time." And it's been really interesting because every single time somebody wants to talk to me about their healing journey, whether it be emotionally or physically, I've just observed that people always want to tell me, "Oh, I was doing this, this, and this, and it was working, but I stopped doing it because this, and this." And it always usually comes down to money or time. And it really has just got me thinking about that concept, especially as I'm pricing out the coaching programs that I'm putting together. Because obviously, um, this is like, it's this healing journey is like people that are genuinely wanting to help others. Like, they're not out to make money. Like, they're not in this industry to make money. I do think that there is a specific money that needs to be in exchange, because money is a form of energy, which is a form of currency. And I do think that are people who are investing monetarily are a lot more likely to commit like their time and their soul when they're financially invested into something. So I do think that this type of healing, whether it be emotionally or physical healing, it does need to have a monetary value on it, and a time frame on it. But the question is, like, how much though? Because it's such a weird thing, because I feel that if someone were to tell me, "Hey, it's going to cost you $10,000 to find happiness and peace, and one step further, to help save your vision." If someone were to tell me like that's going to cost $10,000, even if someone were to tell me happiness and peace, like if you could have happiness and peace, in your life, it'll cost you $10,000. Like, would I have signed on for that? Yeah, I think that I would have. Um, I think that I personally have been so unhappy, unfulfilled, not living a life of like my true soul purpose, not living in alignment with who I really authentically was. Like, I Yeah, I mean, I was just totally going down the wrong road. And I thought at the time that I was going down the right road, but I was still so unhappy, unfulfilled. And yeah, I mean, if someone were to tell me, like, "Hey, it's going to cost you $5,000 to find happiness and peace, regardless what's going on in your life, regardless of outside circumstances, I can teach you how to find happiness and peace and be able to maintain it regardless of like life's, troubles. I don't think that you could put like a price tag on that. And same thing with like our health and our physical healing. Like there are so many people out there that they are like they'll say like, oh well, it's too expensive to do this holistic route, or oh it's too expensive to only eat organic food. But if you were to be educated on the amount of healing, physical healing from diseases that are deemed incurable just through a certain nutritional lifestyle. I'm not going to say diet, but a lifestyle change of what you eat. Um, would you like invest that money and start like buying organic food? Like it's crazy to me because these people that I've talked to that openly, like I don't ask them. It's funny because they just openly share it with me, which tells me like subconsciously it's something that they, that's on their mind, that's bothering them or on their mind. But as soon as my journey gets brought up, or they find out about my journey, or I speak about my journey and talk about how much my lifestyle change has brought me physical and mental healing, I always get people that like want to bring up their tiptoe into a healing journey through food or through spirituality. And it always gets boiled down to that it's like too expensive or took too much time, and that's why they stopped. And I obviously have so much compassion for anyone and everyone that's on a journey and that's curious about finding healing and peace and happiness. But it's been an interesting observation that that I've noticed. And I think that I, as somebody who was told, hey, you may lose your vision, that's a pretty big deal. And so where I sat a year ago, literally like a year ago today, or not today, but like this month, a year ago this month, when someone basically told me that, it didn't matter to me. Like nothing mattered. It didn't matter what my financial situation was, because I'm gonna be honest, like my financial situation was and still isn't great. But it didn't matter that I didn't have the finances. Um, and the responsible thing would have been to like stay home and try to figure out my financial situation, try to find out like a game plan for what I was going to do for work and for the future. But when someone tells you that like you only have a certain amount of time to live, or you only have a certain amount of time to have vision, like you don't care. Like you do what you need to do um, to enjoy life, regardless what the um, consequences are, or what the outcome is going to be. And I think that goes for the same thing for like your health too. Like if you get a sense that like something may work for you, if you feel a strong pull, your inner knowing, your intuition is telling you like this may be an answer for you, um and you do your due diligence and your research and it feels good and all of that, like how much would you pay if someone could tell you like, hey, you have this weird disease and I think that we may be able to help the symptoms or even cure it, fix it? Like what would you pay for that? And it's super super interesting, and it's crazy because I don't think there's a price tag that you can put on that. When I like did plant medicine for the first time, all of the retreat centers, the ayahuasca retreat centers, they all were like $4,000 to $12,000 for a week. And I was thinking like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to afford that. Like, who can afford this? Like the like wealthy people, like that's who can afford it. And I didn't like, I knew that it was something that was going to help me. I had done so much research about it. I had talked to several people that had done it, but, um, but yeah, I couldn't fathom like spending that much money because like, what if it didn't work? And now, like, looking back, it's it's crazy. Like, I'm glad that I waited to do my plant medicine experience because something got put into my lab that was like really specific and special with the person I ended up doing plant medicine with. Um, but it's like same thing with like my trip to go out of town to Thailand, or like the money that I'm spending working with like this nutritional coach. Um, if if someone were to say like, "Hey, you only have a month to live," like, what would you do? Would you drop everything and fly to a place that you had always wanted to go to? Or if someone said, "Hey, we may be able to fix this thing that you're struggling with physically," like, how much money would you spend on that? Because at the end of the day, like, if you're dealing with some symptoms or disease or chronic illness, um, it's like that doesn't have a price tag. That oftentimes, like, people that I've seen, talk to, like, it affects everything in their life, like their energy, their mental state, what they're physically able to do, like how much they're physically able to experience life. Like, it affects everything. So it was really interesting to me that when I met my coach, that she made a comment to me like, "Hey, if this doesn't work, if this doesn't fix your vision, at least you'll be really, really healthy." And I think that that's just kind of the outlook that I've had, that I knew that when I started to go down this journey of healing myself through medicine, or through food as medicine, I knew that it really didn't matter what it didn't matter, like, if it did or didn't help me. Like, obviously, like, the hope would be that it would help my vision, but it really didn't matter that much because, number one, I had already accepted that I had this disease and there was a possibility I was going to go blind. But also, um worst case scenario, if it didn't help me, at least I'd be really healthy. Like, I mean, you can't go wrong eating fresh fruits and vegetables, and juicing, and like making everything organic, and doing like a whole bunch of other different like healing modalities. Like, all of those things were just like normal known things that people know about that are good for you. So it's like, it's just interesting that so many people can prioritize like a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff. Like, people can prioritize going on vacation to party for a weekend, or buying this expensive like $5,000 bag, or saving money to buy a house. Like, I mean, there's so many things that people are like, "Oh, you need to do this, this, and this in order to be happy." Like, um, and it's like crazy because if someone were to tell me, like, "Jordan, save money to buy a house or find peace and happiness for the rest of your life." And when I say peace and happiness for the rest of your life, I mean like the answers of like how to maintain a peaceful and happy state of mind. Obviously, life is going to have like the things that come and go that are challenging, but someone were going to say like, buy a house or find like peace, happiness, contentment in your life, like, which one would I choose? Honestly, I would take that money that I was saving for a house and invest into myself, um, because I can always buy a house. But with your livelihood, with who you are as a person, like, especially for somebody like me, when I was at a point where I was like so miserable, so unhappy, I couldn't even like see straight. I That's kind of a sad analogy, but when I was so miserable and so unhappy, it didn't matter if I saved that couple $1,000s for a rainy day, or to figure out what I was going to do in the next 6 months. It didn't matter if I had that couple $1,000s at $3,000. That didn't matter if I couldn't even get to 2 or 3 months from that day, because I was so depressed, so suicidal. If I couldn't get to like 3 months from then, it didn't matter that I had saved that money for a rainy day because I wouldn't even been there still. So it's just, I don't know if any of this is making sense, but it's a really interesting observation to watch people decide that physical healing or emotional healing is just not worth the time or investment financially for them. Everything else in this world seems so worth like them spending their time on or them spending their money on, but like the things that matter like really the most in our lives, which is like happiness and peace and our health, people just like can't put a value on that or they don't really want to. And it's so interesting to me. So it's just been something I've been thinking about as I start to price out my coaching program. I really want to be able to like serve people with all different types of bank accounts because I'm gonna be honest, like my bank account was not set up to be able to pay a life coach or a wellness coach. Um, it wasn't back this time last year when I was like so suicidal, which is a whole other thing. I remember last year I was like calling outpatient mental hospitals because my psychiatrist was so worried about my mental headspace and that I was so suicidal. She told me I needed to check myself in somewhere. And I was calling places every other week. And for them to tell me that it was going to be like $4,000 for a 6 week program of them basically putting me in intensive therapy and shoving a whole bunch of medication down my throat. Like it was so crazy because I did not have $4,000 to spend on an outpatient program. But I was like so not okay. Like, I'll just say that. Like, I was not okay. And it was crazy because I was having to pick and choose between, like, do I put this on a credit card so I can possibly save my life? Or do I just try to keep going? And something in me told me that going to an outpatient program and I had asked them, like, what exactly would happen. And they told me that it would just be a lot of intensive talk therapy and medication. I knew that that wasn't the answer. Like I knew that was like a short term fix. Like I don't believe in being on medication for the rest of your life. So I knew that that wasn't for me, but it was just so weird that I was having to pick between like my finances and also like trying to save myself from myself. And I ironically had talked to one of my close friends at the time and he was going through the same thing. Like he literally had gotten taken into a mental hospital and was now sitting in like $35,000 worth of debt because he was in that mental hospital. And yeah, so it's just like it was mind blowing to me. Like that, the whole mental health system, that's a whole other thing. Um, but yeah, so this just it really kind of just got me thinking about how much would you spend um if someone could teach you or if a experience could teach you to find peace, happiness and healing. And I just really don't think that you can put a price tag on that. I think that you obviously like need to go down a route of someone that maybe like has had experience in like what you're looking at and maybe get some referrals to a program. You don't want to just like throw all your money at some kind of program that you know nothing about, no one that knows anything about it. um you don't want to do that, but like if you have vetted like what the experiences that you're going to do, vetted like the coach that you're going to work with, and yeah, I don't think you can put a price tag on healing physically or mentally, because at the end of the day, like, if you're living under a bridge and you can still find peace and happiness, I would much rather have peace and happiness and be broke than be living in a mansion and being mentally miserable. Or same thing with my health. Like, I would much rather have no money and living with my parents than and possibly saving my health than living like lavishly and having no health, because if you have no health, you have no life, baby. So these are just some things that I've been thinking about as I try to put a price tag on what I'm going to be offering people. I truly am a firm believer that when you feel called to something, you feel called to something, whether that be a person or experience. I want to start offering coaching because I've had so many people reach out to me, and I feel like I've always felt a really big passion for mentoring people. That's why I loved owning a real estate company, because I hated real estate, but I liked mentoring people and I liked kind of helping guide people. So it just kind of all made sense. Like, I kept getting people asking me about like my nutrition or detoxing, or like that people were talking to me about being like extremely unhappy and that they needed a mental reset. And I just, like, I kept turning people away because I was focused. I kept telling people, like, I'm really focused on my own personal journey right now, on my own personal healing. I don't have the energy to give out to people right now, but eventually I will. And yeah, I've gotten to a place where I'm like mentally, physically at a place where I feel like I now can give out to other people. So I'm really excited to be giving my energy, my knowledge of just some of the things that I've gone through and experienced that have helped me. And I'm going to be offering that to people that are interested in knowing. I am coming from a background of like being in real estate and having to like show your worth and get people to think that like you know what you're talking about and all of that, in order for them to work with you. But um yeah, this is not that. I only want to work with people that are truly invested in their own personal healing, because I will tell you, nobody is going to fix you. Like, no experience is going to fix you, no person is going to fix you. But what will help is you going down a journey of healing, and that's continuing to like seek after yourself. So sometimes as we seek after ourselves, like, we need guides, people that have been there, people that have gone down that journey before us. And I'm just really excited to be a guide to people that are looking and that feel called to me. Um, Again, like, I'm not going to be selling what I'm doing. I'm not going to be trying to show my value to people. I think that people that resonate with me, with my story, with with my life transformation, my mentality transformation, like people that I resonate with them, like, they will feel called to me. I won't have to market myself or market like what I'm doing. People have already been coming to me. I just have not been in a headspace to be able to serve people the way I want to. So now that I am able to do that, I'm just really excited to be able to give back, because again, like, this whole process is like, none of this is about money. Anybody that has good intentions with this healing journey, like, they're not in this to make money. They're in this to help guide people in a way that someone helped guide them. um, and that's like, I've had so many amazing teachers, guides. And that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is because I have met some amazing people, and I really want to introduce people that I know to some of the people that have taught me, guided me. Because again, like some people can't fly to another part of the world, or some people aren't ready to dive into plant medicine or aren't ready to dive into a total like lifestyle change. So I'm just really excited to have started this podcast because the goal is to introduce people that I've met that have been my teachers or my guides along my journey, or that are my guides right now. Because again, like we all need guides, coaches, mentors, regardless what phase of life you're in. So yeah, that's the reason why I started this podcast, was to introduce people to just some amazing people that I know that, maybe you would have never come in contact with. So yes, I said a lot, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. If you are interested in any of the coaching programs, I'm going to be doing a monthly subscription, a group coaching program, and a one-on-one coaching program. Again, I wanted to be able to serve like all different types of people, regardless, like if you're just wanting inspiration, or wanting to be in the know of things that I'm doing, researching, working on, or if you're wanting more of like a community atmosphere that's more in depth, um, or if you're wanting like a one-on-one type situation. Yeah, I just wanted to be able to serve like all different people that have different price ranges, people that have different needs in their journey right now, whether it be one-on-one, group situation for community, or people that are just like passively kind of, their interest is kind of sparked about this journey that I'm on. So yeah, I'm really excited. I am also working with some really great partners right now. So I'm going to be sharing a lot on my social media about some of the companies that I'm working with. I really have like been on a search hunt for companies that I felt aligned with their mission, whether it be like the message that they give off with their products, or specifically like with food or skincare or beauty, like if there are lines that are clean, vegan, cruelty free. It's really like, since I started this journey, like it's very difficult to find good products to put on your body, or food, like food to put in your body. It's very hard to find stuff that is clean and ethically made. So I'm really excited. Like for instance, like you guys probably saw, I posted like an all white outfit that I'll be posting more soon of, but that's a really amazing company, Ginger Chick Fit, which I partnered with them before I went to Thailand, but it's basically a woman-owned business, and they're all about like empowering women. Like it's not just like super sexy like Instagram fitness photos. Like it's like all their packaging, their branding, like everything's about empowering women. And yeah, so I'm gonna be posting more about them, and some of the other brands and companies that I have been really excited. I would say blessed, really blessed to be able to start working with brands that like I found because I was looking for a brand like them. Um, yeah, so I'm excited. So I'll be sharing more about my coaching programs, and again, just about everything else that I have going on. So yeah, this was just a food for thought. Um, Let me know if you think that you can put a price on mental, physical healing. Like, I would be curious, like, what your idea is. And also, coming up in the next couple of weeks, I will be introducing you guys to some amazing people. I'm so excited. Like, I have a lot of interviews already lined up for the podcast. So definitely stay tuned.